Hello, everyone, and welcome to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. This is immigration. This is Daily Immigration Dose. Really happy to be here, folks. Before we start off, I have this very important disclaimer, and that is by watching our videos, you understand that the information shared, including comments, is not professional advice. Use at your own risk. Our intention is never to offend, a casual exchange of ideas. So I'm really happy to be back, folks out there. I'm Napasa Pradhan, and I'm here today with my co-host Sam to dive into a very important and timely topic. And hi, Sam, how are you today?
Hi, Napa. I'm doing great, and it's good to be back. And I'm really looking forward to today's session. As we are diving into a very intriguing topic. So, yeah, I'm
Yes.
excited for this session, and let's see what we are going to explore in today's episode.
For sure. And today's topic of discussion is, do you think it's possible to get your US passport fast? And we are going to see the different topics and categories and things that are governed um, as so far as to get your passport in the US or your passport as soon as possible. So, yes, we all know that having a US passport can be crucial for travel, and not just for travel, but also for identification and many other essential purposes. So, today we are going to discuss about that. And with the increasing demand and changes in policy, is it still possible to really expedite the process and get your passport as quickly? That's what we're going to discuss today. And of course, yes, we are going to bring in the latest updates, some news. We are going to talk about many things, especially with regard to US passports. So I'm excited.
Me too, same here. So, yeah, I think, Napasa, before diving into today's topic and exploring everything, I think let's have a quick news update.
Sure.
So yeah, firstly, there's Trump border czar criticizes San Diego's super sanctuary policy. So Tom Homan, the incoming border czar, criticized San Diego's new super sanctuary policy, calling it 10 times worse than prior regulations protecting illegal immigrants from federal authorities. And the new policy adopted by San Diego County Board of Supervisors requires local law enforcement to obtain a state or federal judge's warrant before contacting ICE about illegal immigrants arrested for crimes. Homan also expressed his resolve to fight the policy, concerned about public safety implications. San Diego County Sheriff Kelly also opposed the policy, emphasizing the need to balance protecting undocumented immigrants' rights and victims of crimes. The county has become a significant region for border crossings, partly due to Texas' stringent border controls and California's sanctuary state laws. Moving ahead with another news, that is the US Census Bureau will include more people admitted for humanitarian reasons, such as refugees, in its annual immigrant count to better reflect recent population shifts. So the new method, however, will only be applied at the national level and not the state level. Despite not disclosing the expected increase in immigrant figures, officials believe that this approach will provide more accurate estimates. And in 2023, the Census Bureau estimate for immigrants entering the US was significantly lower than other agencies' figures. So the inclusion of humanitarian parolees, over 5.8 million admitted from 2021 to 2024 under various policies, represents part of the adjustment. Upcoming President Donald Trump, set to return to the White House, has promised mass deportations and likely aims to dismantle humanitarian parole. And moving ahead with next news update will be shared by my co-host Napasa Pradhan.
Thank you so much, Sam, for that quick news update. And for me, I have this first news, and that is USA Pickleball National Championships generates $3.6 million, and it has a huge economic impact in Arizona. So the USA Pickleball National Championships recently took place in Mesa, Arizona, bringing in a significant boost to the area. And the event, which was held from November 9th to 17th, drew over 2,600 participants from 47 states across the USA and 13 countries, including India. It attracted nearly 10,000 fans to the venue, where a total of 3,835 matches were played across 41 courts. And this year's national far exceeded expectations, not only in terms of athletic competition, but also in the positive impact on the Mesa community. So, Mike Neely, the CEO of USA Pickleball, highlighted the event's success and the strong support from partners, volunteers, and fans. And pickleball's rising popularity is evident as it continues to grow across the USA and internationally, with more and more people getting involved. So, definitely, this is something, and folks out there, you should sure check out the latest news on pickleball. And yes, might as well learn how to play it. Who knows? And apart from that, I think we have more news updates, which I will cover a little bit later. But yes, that's it for now.
All right, that's great. So I think, Napasa, let's have a quick intro of today's topic so that at least we can give a brief that what our audiences can expect from today's episode. So, friends, yeah, today we are going to talk about, do you think it's possible to get your US passport fast? So, I think possibility to get your US passport fast is yes, and whether it's through urgent travel services, then expedited processing, or emergency situation, there are certain options available that will help you to get your passport when you need it the most. And also, there are certain criteria that you need to keep in your mind, especially when you're applying for your passport. So, yeah, I think whether you're planning a last minute trip also, or if you need to attend a very urgent event, or simply you need to just your passport sooner than expected, then I think there are certain chances that you can get your US passport fast. And today we are going to talk everything about what are the different services, how can you apply for those services, what are the eligibilities, then what are the time duration also, when can you get those passports, and different things also, with some certain tips also that we will be sharing at the end of our today's episode. So I think it will be a very informative session. So stick around with us and be here for an hour. And don't stop commenting, and don't stop posting your questions or your doubts on the comment section, because we will be definitely taking them up as well. And yeah, friends, if you also want to connect with us, then you can also dial this number, that is 425 with the access code that is 9 and 5 times 8. So while dialing this number, you can directly join us, and we'll be happy to have you with us also in this session. So yeah, Napasa, please go ahead and proceed with our today's topic.
For sure, Sam, but I just have one more quick news update, which I feel is very important.
Sure.
And before we really dive into our topic for today, folks, nearly 1.5 million migrants ordered to leave the US. Government issues deportation decrees, and that is with Donald Trump's return to power on the horizon. Mass deportations are being planned, and the Department of Homeland Security reports that over 1.4 million migrants have received final deportation orders as of late November 2024. These orders come after migrants have exhausted all legal options or failed to appeal within the required time frame. And according to immigration attorney Maria Melado, once the order is final, there's little resource left for those impacted. And if they don't leave voluntarily, ICE will step in to enforce the deportation, which requires the cooperation of the deportee's home country. And if approval takes longer, migrants can be detained temporarily, but detentions are capped at 6 months. So this is quite a serious news update, and I thought I should put it up as well. And thank you, Sam. Yes, I think we should now dive in to our topic for today. So, do you think it's possible to get your US passport fast? And yes, there are many things that are, that could help you get your passport fast. But I think we should certainly talk about, the general process to
Absolutely.
get your you yeah uh, or anything else you want to start with, Sam?
I think, yeah, that will be better instead of diving directly into topic. Let's also have a background of what is the whole process of receiving a US passport. So, yeah, I think that will be great. So, it will be best, to have a little brushing up on that thing. So, we can start with that as well.
Sure, Sam.
Okay, so I think firstly, we talk about the basics. Then a U.S. passport is a official government document that proves your identity and citizenship. So for that, there's a quick update or a quick thing that you should know about. What are the steps? So firstly, there's application. So what you need to do, you need to fill out a passport application. And friends, there are two types of forms, that is DS11 and DS82. So DS11 is for the first time applicants. If you're applying for the very first time, you have to apply through DS11. Also, children under 16 or those who do not meet the requirements for a passport renewal. And for DS82, it is for those who want to have passport renewals, and it's only available if your passport was issued within the last 15 years and is undamaged and you were 16 year older when it was issued. Step 2 will be supporting your documents, and then for this, you have to submit proof of US citizenship, such as birth certificate, naturalization certificate, or some previous passport also. Some kind of proof of identity, like driver's license or state issued ID, will be recognizable. Then you will also need to submit passport size photographs that meet the government specification. And lastly, you have to pay the fee. And passport fees depends on whether you are applying for a regular passport or an expedited service. With that, you have to pay the fees. And lastly, you have to wait for your passport to arrive. So yeah, this is a quick sneak peek of what is the process of getting a US passport. And after this, we would like to jump directly into our topic, that is also what are the types of passport services that are available. So if we talk about the
Sure,
services
Sam.
that are,
Yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
available for getting your passport quickly, then there is first one, that is life or death emergency. So, firstly, friends, if you have a life or death emergency, then you can apply for a passport under this service. And when we are hearing the name only, life or death emergency, then we can understand that it is a situation like immediate, like a very last moment situation when there is no other ifs and buts are remaining. So it is especially for immediate family members, any immediate family members outside of the US who has died or is dying or has life threatening illness or injuries. So if these three conditions are there, then you can apply for life or death emergency service. And it's also very important to know, friends, that in these cases, you can request an emergency appointment, but it's important to know that aunts, uncles, cousins, and other relatives are not considered in this category, because immediate family members means only your parent, your legal guardian, child, spouse, sibling, and grandparent. So you need to be very much understanding in these things, that what are the categories that comes under immediate family members, and because of these family members only you can apply for life or death emergency. Also, if we would like to talk about the another service also, so Nepasa, please go ahead and share with our viewers what is the other service.
For sure. Sometimes you could also have urgent travel plans, and that's when you really require to see that your passport is updated, or
Mhm.
that you have a passport in hand so that you can travel. So if you have urgent travel plans, like a trip in the next 14 days or so, which is really really urgent, and you don't have a visa in hand, sorry, a passport in hand, what are you going to do? You really need to get a visa appointment within the next 28 days, and you will really need to get your passport, right? So what you need to do then is make an appointment at a passport agency. And how can you do it? So for those who have, there are two parts to this. One is for those who haven't yet applied, and one is for those who have already applied. So we'll go first with for those who have not yet applied. So first off, you go to your online passport appointment system. Start by visiting the system online, and you will need to enter some details about your travel plans to check if you qualify for an appointment. And soon after, you will need to enter your email address, and you will get a code to send to your email, and that you will need to enter to proceed. So if you don't see the email, you can check your junk or your spam folder, and you'll find that email there. And the next thing you do is enter your mobile phone number, and that's where you will also receive like a text message. Basically, you need to verify your email and your phone. And that's again, on your phone you will receive another code, and you will need to enter that to complete the process to schedule your appointment. All right, and then once these two steps are done, you will get there. It's the confirmation step. So once you've completed the scheduling, check your email for a confirmation message with all the details, and the system will hold your appointment for 15 minutes. And if you don't confirm within those 15 minutes, you will have to start over the whole process. All right. And now, for those who have already applied, you can call 877 and you can call this number between 8 a.m. in the morning to 10 p.m. Eastern time on weekdays, that is. And on weekends, you can call this number from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So once again, I can repeat the number for you: 877-487-2778. And apart from that, for those who have already applied for TDD and for TTY services, if you deaf or hard of hearing, you can use this number: 888-874-7793. And then once this is done, you can confirm your appointment, and you will receive like a unique information that they'll check on the day of your appointment. And if you're not the one making the appointment, the passport agency or center won't be able to see you. And that's that. And after that is canceling or changing an appointment. Sometimes you may want to reschedule your appointment, right, to get your passport. So if you need to cancel or reschedule, you just call them in those numbers again, and they will give you a spot, or they will give your spot to someone else who needs an appointment. So these are some of the steps, that will help you ensure that your appointment really goes smoothly, whether you're setting up a new one or already have an application in progress. But yes, that is in this when you really need this passport urgently, probably in the next 14 days, that is 2 weeks in hand. And there's another step which Sam will help us go through it.
Absolutely. But I think, Napasa, before diving into the third step, I think let's have a quick understanding of what is the difference between life or death emergency service and the urgent travel services. Because, most of the people, they think about it that they both sound a bit similar. So the criterias, the eligibilities, or even the things, it is similar. So yeah, I think let's have a quick understanding of firstly about the difference between these two services. So the life or death emergency service, it is the service for extreme emergency where you need to travel internationally immediately due to death or serious illness. Often immediate family members such as parent, spouse, child, sibling, or grandparent, as I already mentioned. So in this, there are certain documentation that are required. Firstly, the proof of the emergency, like if there's a death of any of the immediate family member, you have to show the death certificate. Then also the statement from a mortuary, if you get it, or a hospital letter if someone from your immediate family member is suffering from a serious illness. Then there should be a hospital letter that details the medical conditions of your relative. And after that, it's also about the processing time. So this service allows you to get your passport in 24 hours to 3 business days, depending upon the seriousness of your situation. So yeah, this is the first thing that I would like to talk about this service. And Nepasa, why don't you go ahead and tell about the urgent travel service again, just to have a clear understanding.
Before we I mean, like, for the process which Sam had mentioned earlier, the general process of getting your passport, there are also like, especially when you want to go submit your application, you can submit it. I'm just telling it in, there are two ways you can submit it. One is in person, that is, you can go to a passport acceptance facility like a post office or library, schedule an appointment and bring your documents, photo, and payment. And there's another process, which is by mail. So for renewals, you can send your completed form, old passport, and even payment to the address specified on your form DS 82. And apart after submitting your application, you can also track your application. That's a few additional points I'm just adding to Sam's. After that, I can touch on the urgent ones. You can track your application. You can use the online passport application status tracker on the State Department's website to see updates, as in what is the update on your application process. And then, of course, receiving your passport. So a routine process takes about 8 to 11 weeks. So if you're in a hurry, you can pay extra, and that's when we're talking about urgency, right? For expedited service, which includes processing time between 5 to 7 weeks. And of course, if you need it even more urgently, like we have been talking about, like, you need it between within 2 weeks, say, and you really need to quickly get your passport because you need to schedule your visa appointment. You really need to travel faster. So when you go to you really need to like quickly have your passport. So there are passport agencies and centers, they process all applications they receive. And of course, they serve customers by appointment only. So especially who have urgent travel to foreign country in the next 14 calendar days, or they need a foreign visa in the next 28 calendar days. So the US Department of State runs each passport agency and center. And an agency and center is different than all these acceptance facilities, which may include post offices, libraries, and local government offices. So if you really need to get your passport faster, you cannot submit your applications to a post office or a library or a local government office. You need to go to a passport agency or a passport center, and that's where you can tell them about your urgency, and they could guide you through the process, which I had mentioned earlier. One is where you have not yet applied, and one is where you have already applied and you have been waiting, but you really need to make the process faster. So Sam, you can, I think that's better. I think you can, is that clearer?
Yeah, I think that's fine, and you have explained it very well. So I think, yeah, we got a lot of information about these two services. So now I think let's talk about the other service also that we have in our hand, and that is expedited service. So this is basically for those if you don't have an emergency but still you need a passport sooner than your usual processing time, then you can opt for this service, that is expedited service. This is a best option for this. It's not as fast as the life or death or urgent travel service, but it's still much quicker than the routine process. So, for example, if you're planning a vacation or need to travel for business in the next couple of weeks, or if you need to attend some urgent international conference, maybe in upcoming 10 days, that then you don't have your passport, then by using this expedite service, you can expect to receive your passport within 5 to 7 business days. So this is also best way where you don't have to wait for a long time, because it is better and quicker than the routine process. And by using this service, you can also get your passport within 5 to 7 business days, and that's a pretty good time. So, however, you should still plan for potential mailing delays, because it's also best to apply at least 2 weeks before your departure date to avoid any last minute surprises. And these dates are excluding the 2 weeks of mailing process and all. So that is why that is what the date is. And this is also a great thing that you can have this also as a chance for your passport, where you can have a fast passport process. So yeah, this was the third service that I wanted to highlight. And moving ahead with the other service, Nepal, please go ahead and share with our viewers.
Sure, Sam. Actually, I already touched upon it a little bit, talking about routine, like a
Yeah.
general process where travel is in, say, 6 weeks or more. So, more than 6 weeks, you can go for your routine, normal passport, and you can choose this service if you're traveling, over 6 weeks from the date you submit your application. So, routine services take say about 4 to 6 weeks, which is like a month or 1.5 month, and it does not include mailing times. So, mailing times may add 2 weeks on to the total time to get your passport. So, you can apply for routine service at an acceptance facility. And if you're applying for the first time for a child under 16, you're eligible to renew. You can even renew online or by mail. And uh, yes, and if if control, you can actually um, help us. There are different passport offices, and there is a map actually, which I mean, which will be cool to see. So you could check out these different locations. That
Mm-hmm.
that's a map of passport office locations. There are various locations where you can, help yourself, especially if it is closest to you or it's in your city for that matter, or your state. So you can check them out, and you can decide as in like where would it be best for you to go. And also, sorry. So basically, if your trip is at least in the next 6 weeks or after the 6 weeks, what you need to know is, the routine passport service would be your best option, of course. And here's how it works: the processing time. Routine service typically takes 4 to 6 weeks for processing. However, you do not forget about mailing times, and they can add up to 2 weeks, like I said earlier. And where to apply. First time applicants or children under 16, they can head to an acceptance facility like a post office, library, or local government office. And for renewals, if you're eligible to renew your passport, you can do it online or even by mail, or for added convenience. And I think the tip here would be, don't wait until the last minute. Start your application as soon as possible to avoid unexpected delays, and especially if you know that your passport is expiring. It's expiring in another, say, 1.5 month or 2 months. uh, Write in your application, start the process already, because it's going to take some time. And especially, to keep your passport updated, I think it's very important, because you don't know, especially if you're working in offices where travel is very frequent and you need your passport to be up to date. So it's always best to keep your passport up to date. Make sure of the dates it's expiring, and see that before it's expired, you have already started your process of application to renew it. And yeah, that's that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a very important point, Nipa, that you mentioned. And moving ahead, friends, these were the four services where you can apply for the US passport. And these were the four services where it also expedited the process. Now, I would also like to talk about how long does it take to get a passport. So, in this specifically, we will talk about the duration, the time gap, that how much these four services will give you your passport. Okay. So, firstly, I'll talk about the routine service. So, as we already mentioned, this can take up to 8 to 11 weeks, and you shouldn't forget about the mailing time, that is usually up to 2 weeks. So, plan ahead if you are booking a travel. Then moving ahead with expedited service, then this service typically takes around 5 to 7 business days, and this is excluding the week time, that is mailing time. So you need to plan ahead if you're booking your travel. Then urgent travel, if you qualify for urgent travel, then you can also get your passport in 24 to 48 hours. That is depending on the availability of your appointment. And with the last one, that is life or death emergency, then in this case of an emergency, you can also receive your passport the same day or within a few hours, again excluding the mailing time of those 2 weeks. So yeah, I think these were some days and the duration that I wanted to mention, and also the total time I'm saying it again that it will depend on processing time plus mailing time. So always account for both when you are planning a travel. All right. So now I think, Napasa, we would move ahead with our next segment of today's episode. That is the proof, that are required for fast passport services. So I think this is also very important. So I think, yeah, let me begin with life or death emergency, and then you can continue with the other service as well.
Sure. Sure, Sam.
Great. So, yeah, friends, firstly, I'll talk about life or death emergency. Then you need to provide official documents of the emergency. Firstly, that includes death certificate of the immediate family member, then statement from a mortuary or funeral home verifying the death. And if someone is ill or maybe a condition is very serious, then you can have the hospital letter as well. But that hospital letter needs to have that proper explanation of the serious illness or the medical condition of your relative or your immediate family member. And that letter should be on hospital letterhead and include all the details about the conditions that are required during the urgent travel time. So yeah, these were some of the proofs, that is required for life or death emergency. And moving ahead with another service also, Nipasa, please go ahead and share what are the different proofs, that is required for urgent travel services.
Audible because I think there is a lag on my end,
Yeah,
but
you're audible now.
okay, great. So before I move ahead with the criteria to get your urgent travel, I would really like to say to folks out there that you can also join us in this conversation. Maybe if you have questions, and yeah, our number is 425 and the access code is 988 888. Once that, you can say hello and we will be able to hear you. And yes, I would also like to say hi to Neha Sharma. Thank you so much for participating with your comments. It'd be really nice to have you join us in our conversation. So why not join us by dialing this number I just said? But once again, 425 436 6335, and the access code is 988 888. Once you're in, just say hello. We will be able to hear you. All right. So moving ahead, to urgent travel. The proof required is you will need to show proof of your urgent travel plans, such as airline tickets or a confirmed travel itinerary, indicating travel within the next 14 days.
Uh, I think there's some issue from Napasa's side. So, Napasa, can you hear me? I think due to some reason she got disconnected. Maybe there's some technical issue, but no worries. We can wait for her and we can continue with our show. So meanwhile, I would like to have a request from our viewers to give us some time and let's take a break for a while so that we can come back again with another different topics and we can cover those as well. So don't go anywhere, friends. We will be right back just after a quick break.
Hello, everyone. I'm not sure where I lost you, but welcome back to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show, and this is Daily Immigration News. I'm Napasa Pradhan with my co-host Sam, and today we are talking about do you think you know it's possible to get your U.S. passport fast? If you really think you can get it fast or cannot get it fast, or if you have experiences where you really needed it urgently but it wasn't possible, so maybe you could join us to tell us your story, and you can even join us in this conversation by dialing this number on the screen: 425 436 6335, and the access code is 988888. And once you're in, you just say hello, we will be able to hear you. And I was just going through the different requirements, but also quickly I'll say hello to Kavita, Neha, and also Adit. Thank you so much for joining us with the questions. We Yeah, Adit is saying, I'm on H1B, married to a US citizen, filing AOS, EAT, and AP. What's the timeline? Is travel on H1B okay with AOS pending? Any policy changes expected? Well, Adit, it would be best if you could join us in a conversation or in a program or a webinar where we have an expert attorney, an immigration attorney, who could really give you the correct answers. So we have many webinars lined up, and you can check out our channel, Immigration and Jobs Talk Show, where you can also hit the bell icon so that you would be notified when we have these webinars, and you can join us immediately live as well. When these webinars are going on, and we could get you an answer from the immigration attorney. I think that would be best. And that's all I can say for now. But still, maybe we could keep a question, and in case we can try, we will try to address it in our upcoming webinar. Thank you, Adit, for your question, and also folks out there. Thank you for your questions. Really awesome to have you join us, and we are sure going to address them soon. But coming back to what I was saying, I'm so sorry I lost you there, and there was some technical problem with my probably internet. But yes, I was talking about urgent travel and the proof required, when you are uh, when you really need your passport as soon as possible within the next 14 days or less. So the proof required is you will need to show proof of your urgent travel plans. So this could be an airline ticket or a confirmed traveled itinerary, indicating travel within the next 14 days. And another is, in some cases, you could have to provide additional documents that may be needed to show the urgency of your travel. What is the reason that you really need to travel so fast that it cannot wait for maybe another week or two or
Mhm.
6 weeks for that matter? So why is it you really need to give that proof to the passport agency, and only then they're going to entertain you with your urgent requirement of a passport? Yes, Sam, you may please continue with the expedited service now.
Yeah, for sure. So for expedited services, friends, this service doesn't require the same level of documentation as the other two, but still you will need to pay an additional fee for expedited processing. And you have to complete the passport application, then provide a passport photo also, and then you have to show a valid government issued photo ID. And with this, you will be able to have your expedited service. That so these are the proofs that are needed for this service. And moving ahead with the routine service, Nipasa, please go ahead and share with it.
Sure, Sam. And for routine service, the proof required is submit your passport application. You need to submit your application saying that you need a passport.
Mhm.
And apart from that, is provide necessary identification such as a birth certificate or a government issued photo ID, much required, and also include a passport photo. These are the requirements for a routine service. And for a routine service, you could just be more casual, or it could be travel plans, in your calendar or in your plans, but maybe not as urgent. Or maybe you could plan after you get your passport. You can make all these things very clear. Or even if you're asked, why do you want a passport, mostly it's for travel, right? So yeah, and understanding all these criteria is actually going to help you choose the right path based on your specific situation and your travel needs. Whether you're dealing with an urgent emergency, planning a trip in the near future, or just applying for routine service. Having the right documents ready is very important, and this will help you streamline the process and save you a lot of time.
Absolutely. And also, Napasa, I would like to say that, yeah, it's very important to make sure to carefully check the specific requirements, for each type of services before scheduling your appointment. So, different services have different documentation needs, also different eligibilities, different understanding. So, it is very important to carefully check that which service you qualify for, and it's going to save your time and also ensure that to get the right service for your needs. So, whether you're dealing with an emergency or need a faster processing time for business or travel, I think you should be very much clear with your eligibility criteria, with your everything, all the information that is required, that will help you in navigating the process smoothly and quickly. So, I think this is how, one can get the US passport fast. And also, there's a comment from Ayush side that I would like to read it out. That only immediate family members qualify for life or death emergencies, parent or legal guardian, child, spouse, sibling, grandparent, then aunts, uncles, cousins, or other relatives are not considered to be immediate family member. Absolutely, Ayush, you are perfectly correct in this, and I think it's very important to understand, each pointers or the whole, categories of which family members are under this category, that is immediate family members. So yeah, I think it's very important to understand the parent, legal guardian, then child, spouse, sibling, grandparent. I think these are the things that we should understand and should not get confused between the life or death emergency services or the urgent services, because most of the viewers, you get confused with these two services. So I think it's always better to have a proper understanding, to have a proper information about it. It's not too much difficult, but it's all just about your attention and your observation and your carefulness. So yeah, just go with it and understand this. So yeah, Napasa, I think now should we talk something else also, like the tips or the key takeaways, that can help our viewers in getting the passport fast. So I think, yeah, friends, before also sharing the tips, I would also like to say that you got to know by disclaimer also that these are the tips that we are going to share is completely not professional advice. So you are absolutely at your own risk. So our intention is not going to offend anyone, but it's just a casual exchange of idea that we are going to share in today's episode. So yeah, I think that's all I would like to make it clear. And yeah, I think before, yeah, I think it's a disclaimer that is being displayed. So, all right. So, first tip from my end would be, friends, that you have to plan ahead everything. So, even with expedited services, you can't leave your passport application to the last minute. It is very important to plan everything ahead, because even if you are going for life or death service also, then it will also take 4 to 5 days or maybe less than that, but excluding the mailing time. So it's always given the expertise or given the advice to plan ahead and have everything accordingly to your services, to your plans. Just never wait for the last moment to have different surprises. Yeah. And Nipasa, any other tip that you would like to share with our viewers?
I mean, yes, it's really important to plan ahead of time. Maybe plan at least 8 weeks ahead of your travel date, to get
Mm-hmm.
your passport. 8 weeks is a decent time. That's like 2 months. But of course, the more, the better. So if you have like 12 weeks in hand, even better. You get to plan the whole thing. You are able to avail yourself for your passport and, at the passport office for the
Yeah.
interview, with the officer there. And of course, then comes where to apply, right? First time applicants and children under 16 must apply in person at an acceptance facility. But of course, renewals, like we have mentioned, as we discussed today, that renewals can often be done online as well, or even via mail. And that is if you are eligible. And apart from that, it should be cost effective. Routine service is more affordable than expedited options, as it avoids additional fees, right? So if you can plan ahead, then why not, save some money and you can even avoid you can have like a hassle free or attention free process of getting your passport.
Absolutely. And also, friends, you have to check your eligibility as well. So make sure that you meet the criteria for services that you want to use. You have to be very much specific and you have to be very much informed in all the criterias that are important and that are necessary. So be ready with all your documents in order before scheduling your appointment. And, you need to have a proper proof of your emergency or travel plans, whatsoever services you're applying for. So you need to be very much aware of all these information, all the criterias that are included in these services to have a streamlined process, to have a smooth process, to get your US passport.
Absolutely, absolutely, Sam. And we could just give away like a few quick tips, maybe general tips, not expert advisors for sure, but just from experience, you can say, it's always best to start early. Don't wait. Don't wait
Mhm.
at all. Apply as soon as possible, as soon as you know that your travel plans, that you have some travel plans, and, avoid delays or at least last minute stress, just like I was saying,
Right.
avoid all these stress unnecessarily. And then checking your documents is another very, very important thing. Ensure that all the required documents, say it be birth certificate, photo ID, a passport photo, all are
Mhm.
correct, ready, and ready, of course, before applying. Of course, your passport photo should be current as well. You can't give a photo that's like 10 years down the line or 5 years back. You should look like you in the photo. So make sure of that too. And it's so easy nowadays that you have like a camera all the time in your pockets, in your phones. So why not just click one and, yeah, get it ready? Maybe keep it as current as possible. And yeah, then apart from that is track progress. After submitting your application, you can use the online tracking tool to monitor the status, just so you know where your passport is at. And of course, double check the deadlines if especially if you are traveling or your travel date is approaching, that you're going to travel soon and you don't have your passport in hand. What do? So maybe you can even consider switching to an expedited service, to meet your timeline. And we spoke at length today about the urgent requirements to getting your passport, and all you need to do is prove that you really need it immediately so that you don't have to wait any longer. So really planning ahead and staying organized is, I think, the best tip always in all walks of life, and also for a passport for sure. So yeah, make it a process that would be smooth and stress free for yourself, and see that you're planning ahead and staying organized.
Absolutely. And I think by keeping themselves, full of knowledge and full of information, they will be ready, they will be well prepared for applying for a fast passport services. And they will also be able to, navigate the process more smoothly, ensuring that they are getting their passport in time for their travel plans. So I think that's how it should be. And yeah, I think most of the topics today in Epasa we have already covered. Like we talked about the eligibility criteria, we talked about the the different services, then also the difference between the two services, then what are the criterias or who can apply them, then how much time does it take. So I think these
Mhm.
were some of the very I would say, important information that we wanted to share in today's episode. And I think, yeah, we are happy to share those information. And we also talked about, generally, we also gave the information about the US passport process. So I
Mhm.
think with that, we started our episode, and with giving the tips, we also ended our today's episode. So yeah, I think anything else or any end note, Nepal, that you would like to add for our
Uh,
lovely viewers?
I think I could just add this little note from one of our guest attorneys, though not exactly quoting what he really said, but what he said was, because Trump is expected to issue an executive order, on January 20th, 2025, that will prevent the Department of State from issuing U.S. passports to children born in the U.S. to undocumented parents or parents on non immigrant visas. So it's really crucial that these children apply for the US passports immediately using the expedited process, that is offered by the Department of State. just in case this really happens.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think additionally there's a high likelihood that USCIS will refuse to accept Form I-130 petitions from US citizen children for their undocumented parents. To ensure that these petitions are considered, it's really important to file them now because we really do not have much time, and you should consider this very, very important and urgent. So, although the courts are likely to strike down these measures as unconstitutional, the process could really take time. So, it's better to be prepared for what is coming up, folks. I don't know if it's a good note to end, but that is one of the latest update for you.
Absolutely. And I think that's very important for our viewers to understand about the important update as well. But yeah, I think it's almost time. And friends, if still you are thinking that is it possible to get your US passport fast, then our answer is absolutely yes. It's through urgent travel services, then expedited processing or emergency situations. Also, you can have different options that are available to you to help you out in getting your passport. And yeah, I think that's all. Today we have covered lots and lots of information in today's topic. But still, friends, if you still have any question or doubt that you would like to share with us, then please go ahead and post them on the comment section. Maybe not in today's webinar, but every day we have shows with different attorneys, and there we will try our level best to give you expert advice from your doubts or from your all the queries that you are facing right now. So yeah, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. Meanwhile, me and Napasa are signing off for now. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching this episode till the end. See you in the next one.
Have a great day. Bye bye.